Good morning everyone, my name is Michelle, I hope you're doing well. Welcome to another video. It is Tuesday morning, the 9th of December. In this video, we're not talking about one particular case. Over many cases, I talk about my favourite topic, that of dogs, particularly search and rescue dogs. Recently and over a long time on this channel, I've talked about cases like missing then 5-year-old Summer Wells from northeast Tennessee, Sebastian Rogers, the then 15-year-old young man who went missing in 2024 from Middle Tennessee. More recently, the case in Nova Scotia, Canada, of missing siblings 6-year-old Lily and then 4-year-old Jack Sullivan, and a bunch of other cases where search and rescue dogs have had a hand in the investigation, or a paw, should I say. So what I want to do in this video is talk generally, not about one specific case, but generally about search and rescue dogs. To do this, I asked ChatGPT, yes, good old AI, to compile me some information. Now, I wouldn't do this on a topic that I don't know very much about, because ChatGPT and other AI programs can go off at massive tangents. They can bring in information that is not accurate, it's not factual, it's almost laughable sometimes. But in this case, because I know the information, I know the stuff, I can vouch for its accuracy. So it was just a way of me putting together a bunch of information that's easily absorbable. I'm going to talk first about the sources that ChatGPT used, and then we're going to get into the information itself. So, let's go. Before we get into this video, can I just ask, if you're not yet subscribed, please do so. I'm trying to get to 100,000 subscribers by the end of this year, and with only 3 weeks to go, I don't know that I can do it. I don't know that I can do it, but with your help, I have a chance. So if you're not subscribed, click the subscribe button. It's completely free. You've got absolutely nothing to lose. And if you are subscribed, ways you can help the channel are by liking videos, leaving a comment, sharing the videos, and clicking the hype button if you see it. I'm still confused by the hype button, but anyway. Yeah, alright, without further ado, let's get into this video. So, right at the end of all of this information, so I'm kind of working backwards here. Well, this is the last bit of the document. I said, what are your sources for this information? And ChatGPT said, I didn't pull this information from a single website or article. It comes from established SAR canine training material, recognised scent theory research, and standard operating practices used in search and rescue teams. Here are the main categories of sources that I used. And a bunch of books. I haven't read any of these, but I have looked them up, and they are real books. And then Professional SAR and Canine Organisation, National Association of Search and Rescue, North American Police Work Dog Association, International Police Work Dog Association, FEMA. These organisations provide standardised training on the following: SAR canine instruction manuals and field practices, canine olfaction research, studies by various researchers on odour dispersal and dog search patterns, how scent moves in different environments, operational experience widely shared in SAR communities. See, ChatGPT can pull from anywhere that it can find on the internet. So this is why programs like this are good for compiling a bunch of information. So I asked it to go more into detail about the sources. It didn't give me very much more. So at least though, I was able to confirm that the sources that it used for this information are legitimate sources. The starting point I gave to ChatGPT was a broad-ranging question. What reasons would that's supposed to be man? What reasons would a man-trailing dog lose a scent? The idea for this little compilation of information came from discussions that we've had recently on this channel in relation to the Summer Wells case and dogs losing summer scent and then picking it up later down the road. Why would a dog lose a scent? So let's start there. So a man-trailing dog, like a bloodhound or other scent-tracking dog, can lose a scent for several practical, environmental or behavioural reasons. Here are the most common ones. Environmental factors. Weather changes. Rain can wash scent away. Heavy rain absolutely can, especially on artificial surfaces, where scent just basically gets washed away. On natural surfaces, rain has less of an impact, so bear that in mind. Wind can blow scent off the trail or disperse it. That's more of a problem for artificial surfaces. Heat can weaken scent molecules, making them harder to detect. Snow or frost can trap or mute odours. Okay, surface changes. Hard surfaces, asphalt, concrete, hold scent poorly compared to grass or dirt. I literally could have written this information myself. Moving from a grassy field to a road or sidewalk can cause a dog to lose the trail. What do I say again and again and again? Areas with running water or puddles can dilute or remove scent. Areas of running water, yes, they can. They disperse the scent, they move it along. Standing water, like a pond or large puddles, dogs aren't going to be fooled by that if they've had training in water searching, because that scent isn't going to go anywhere. But in running water, yeah, you've got a problem. Time decay. Human scent fades. Depending on conditions, a trail might last minutes or several hours, but older trails are always harder. You've got to think about what that scent actually is. It's molecules that have come from the body. It can be skin cells, it can be oils, and they do decay. Human or animal interference. Contamination. A lot of foot traffic can confuse a scent trail. Crowded areas or places with other dog scent can distract or obscure the target odour. If you've got a lot of footfall, even with a trailing dog that's searching a specific scent, the scent's still there, but the interference can disperse that scent and make it very difficult to follow. Cross trails. If the subject double back, crossed their own earlier path or entered a vehicle, the dog may lose the trail. The dog doesn't understand doubling back. If you double back and follow your own track back, the dog will think that scent stopped. Handler or dog factors. Fatigue or stress. A tired, hot, dehydrated or anxious dog is more likely to lose concentration. That goes without saying. Inexperience or lack of focus. Young or insufficiently trained dogs can drop a scent when distracted or confused. With an inexperienced dog, or a dog that's tired, a dog that's having an off day, a dog that doesn't feel well, all of those things can mean a dog will give up faster. So where you've got difficult to follow trails, either through contamination or something else, environment, weather, etc., an inexperienced, a tired dog will lose concentration faster and won't try as hard to regain that scent. Whereas a highly trained, highly motivated dog might be able to overcome some of the issues that a less experienced, more anxious or stressed dog wouldn't. Overhandling. If the handler pulls too much or directs the dog incorrectly, it can interrupt natural scent work. Well, I'll give you the Chris Watts case as the perfect example here, because the handler in the Chris Watts case of Cody the Labrador was laughable. I did a live stream about Cody the Labrador and Jane the handler last week on this channel, and I am going to do another 2 parts. I'm going to do the basement search and the street search where the handler just completely ignored the dog. I'm going to do those in future live streams. Chemical or environmental barriers. Strong odours nearby, fuel, chemicals, garbage or other industrial smells can overpower a human trail. And again, all of these things are more acutely problematic for inexperienced, tired, anxious, less well-trained dogs than those that are well-trained, well-experienced and highly motivated. Barriers that break scent flow, anything that breaks the scent flow, buildings, walls or vehicles can block the movement of scent particles. If you've got like a crosswind, if you've got a building on one side, a crosswind, it's going to blow the scent particles and they're going to pool along the borders of buildings. And you're going to get areas where that scent is going to build up or pool, and then areas where the person that you're tracking might have gone, but the dog gets concentrated on the areas where the scent pools instead. If you want, I can also break this down specifically for hunting dogs, search and rescue dogs, or police dogs. I said search and rescue. Here are the most common and realistic reasons a search and rescue trailing dog can lose a scent based on how scent works in wilderness, urban, and disaster settings. A lot of this is repetition. Rain washes or dilutes scent along a trail. Strong wind blows scent away from the path or pushes it upward. Heat and dry air quickly break down scent molecules. Cold temperatures can slow scent release from skin cells, leaving less for the dog to detect. So we've also got to remember the person who's actually being tracked as well. If the person's really cold, if the person is heavily clothed, also can have an impact on how much scent is left. Snow can physically trap scent and make it inconsistent. Transitions between surfaces, forest to gravel road to pavement, can disrupt scent. Pavement and rocky surfaces hold scent poorly compared to soil, grass and vegetation. Water crossing streams, puddles, marshes can remove or move scent downstream. Dense brush can trap scent in one spot, while open fields let it disperse more widely. And that's a double-edged sword. Dense brush trapping a scent, if the subject of your track is walking through dense brush, then that's good that the scent is trapped. In an open field where you've got more of a dispersal pattern, if that person is zigzagging all over the place, if the person is doubling back and moving around and changing direction a lot, a trailing dog might still be able to follow the general direction even if that scent is dispersed, because it will fall onto a natural surface. Scent age and quality. All trails, especially 4+ hours in harsh conditions, maybe too weak. And you've got to think about a lot of the cases that we talk about, dogs have only got to the scene the day after. Like in the Summer Wells case, the dogs that tracked Summer scent down the dog trail and picked up scent on Fred Hill's driveway and then found the footprints, you're talking about 1 day for the dog trail and 4 days after for the footprints. It was the fact that the footprints were laid down on a natural surface and Summer was barefooted that you've got that concentration of scent. If the missing person has been inactive, dehydrated or very cold, they shed less scent. High traffic areas, campgrounds, trailheads, neighbourhoods can create overlapping scent pools, which again, a very well experienced, highly motivated dog might be able to work through some of those problems. Not a less experienced dog or a tired dog, etc. Other responders walking through the area before the dog arrives can wipe out the trail or create confusing tracks. And relate this to any case you like. In Sebastian's case, look at how many people were in the area on that morning. Look at the construction site where there was work going on the whole time. Look at how that would have dispersed scent trails. All of that is a problem. Subject-related factors, sudden changes in movement. The subject doubling back, circling or resting creates confusing order patterns. Resting or maybe slept for a few hours in one spot, you're going to get a big pooling effect there that the dog's going to be very, very interested in. And then once they take off again, that dog has to find that track again. Entering a vehicle, bike or horseback stops the ground trail entirely. There still might be scent in the air, but depending on the surface that scent lands on, the environmental conditions and all of the things that we've already mentioned will determine how much of that scent remains for that dog to follow. Crossing through flowing water can erase or displace scent. Buildings, fences, retaining walls can block scent, so all of that is repetitive. Overhandling we've talked about. Poor point of last known contact. If the scent article is contaminated or the last known contact point is incorrectly identified, the dog may be trailing the wrong person. Especially in cases where a trailing dog has been given a scent article that has got multiple scents on it, or you've got somebody giving duff information, or you've got somebody trying to deliberately sabotage the investigation. All of those things are important for a handler to consider. It's nothing to do with the dog. The dog is given the information that he's given, and the dog works with that honestly and to the best of his ability. It's up to the handler to sort out any problems with the scent article or the information that the humans are saying. If the trailing dog is deployed late in the sequence after ground teams, vehicles and command staff have passed through, the original scent may be destroyed or dispersed or just very confusing. Dog-specific factors: fatigue and stress. Okay, obvious. Distractions: wildlife scents, deer, rabbits, livestock, other dogs, human responders can momentarily pull a saw dog out of work mode. They've got to snap back into it, and some dogs will snap back into it very quickly, others won't. Other dogs might need a break, they might need to have a little bit of play time, and then they'll go back to it. Inexperience or task mismatch: some dogs excel at air scenting, tracking or trailing, but mixing tasks too early or asking a young dog to switch methods can cause confusion. Some dogs are only specialised in one aspect. Some dogs may be cross-trained but are better at one type of work than another. For example, hounds like bloodhounds, beagles, coonhounds, they're nose to the ground and they're less good at air scenting. Shepherds, herding dogs like German Shepherds, Malleys, etc., they're good all-rounders. They will use air scent. Border Collies, there are some teams in the UK use Border Collies for large-ranging tasks where you're finding people lost on moorland or mountains and they're primarily air scenting. Like the herding breeds, Border Collies, Shepherds, are very good at that. Spaniels are good all-rounders as well. They'll use air scent, they'll also use ground scent. Spaniels are less good at long distance tracking versus article detection, whereas a hound can track for miles. So then GPT asked me what I wanted to do next. So I said 2, how handlers typically troubleshoot. So I wanted to know more about the handlers. How to tell a saw trailing dog has lost the scent. Changes in behaviour. This is one of the biggest indicator. Are you listening, Jane, from the Chris Watts case? Biggest indicators of problems: lifting its head from the ground, scanning the air, so trying to refine the scent. Sweeping its nose left and right, so trying to get the scent plume and a direction. This shows the dog is searching for scent rather than following a clear trail. Loss or pull, change in speed. On a good trail, most trailing dogs work with confidence, with forward momentum. Yeah, they pull your arms off. When they lose scent, they may slow down, stop entirely, lose tension on the lead, wander rather than driving forward. And if they're wandering, they're circling with their head in the air, then it's telling you maybe there's still some scent there, but they need to kind of recalibrate. And the handler can help with that or not. Sometimes letting the dog work it out is the best way to deal with that. Other times the handler needs to intervene, stop the dog, restart the dog after a little break. Maybe rescent the dog if it's a scent-specific trailing dog. Circling or backtracking. A dog that has lost a trail will go into puzzle-solving mode. Tight circles, wide loops, returning to a known point where it previously had scent. This is normal behaviour. Again, the handler can help with that or not. Let the dog work it out. If the dog's really struggling, then call the dog, let the dog have a break, and then restart the dog. Casting behaviour. A dog swings wildly left and right across the terrain, trying to relocate any trace of the scent cone. This is common at trail intersections, road crossings, areas where the subject changed surfaces. Again, letting the dog troubleshoot, letting the dog work it out is a good first step, especially if you know the dog is trained in that particular type of terrain, location, etc. Letting the dog work it out, letting the dog have that time, not putting any stress on the dog, that's good. But if the dog's becoming tired, frustrated, then the handler stepping in, letting the dog have a little bit of playtime, and then resenting the dog and restarting the dog, I think that's useful. And I think a lot of handlers, because they are under pressure, start to get stressed themselves. You've got the human factors that's going to impact on the dog as well. So the dog will pick up when you're stressed. Looking to the handler. Most trained SAR dogs don't check in with the handler when they are confident on a trail. When scent is lost, the dog may turn its head back towards the handler, pause as if waiting for direction, or show mild frustration or uncertainty. I know when Cassie's struggling with the scent, or when she's not really interested, she keeps coming back to me, and I send her again, and she may or may not pick up the track again. She usually does, but she will come back to me. Body language shift. Often subtle but very consistent. Tail goes from high active to neutral or low. Ears go from forward focus to scanning. Overall posture becomes less driven and more searching. You know your dog's confused when they just look different. Tail down, dejected, they look like they're not having fun anymore. And this is all search and rescue is to a dog. It's just fun. It's game playing. Repeated false starts. The dog picks up a direction, moves a few yards, then stops and returns. This usually means the dog is catching faint scent but cannot isolate the direction of travel. Yes. What it doesn't look like, dogs rarely just stop trailing without some behavioural changes. You'll almost always see slowing, circling, head checks, casting before a complete loss. ChatGPT then asked me a question. How handlers fix a scent loss or training drills? So I said A. So this is the standard field proven method SAR handlers use to fix a loss of scent when a trailing dog drops the trail. These apply in wilderness, urban and mixed environments. So stop and let the dog work. Loosen the line. Stop forward motion. Allow the dog to search, circle and cast. So don't pressure the dog. Only when your dog is starting to get really frustrated or anxious, then that's the time to step in. But let the dog work it out. The nose knows. You don't know. The nose knows. Let the dog work it out. Return to the last confirmed scent. The handler backs up to the point where the dog still showed strong pull, confident posture and clear direction of travel. So at the point just before the scent was lost, go back to that point and see what happens. And that can be another problem-solving task for the dog. If the scent is genuinely lost, then at that point, you will know. Allow encouraged casting. The dog is allowed or encouraged to widen its search pattern, big sweeping arcs, crossing different terrain types, downwind searching. This often allows them to re-enter the scent cone if it's shifted due to wind or terrain. Checking environmental obstacles. Trailing instructors often say, look up, not down. Dogs can lose scent due to a fence, a road crossing, a stream, heavy brush, a turn or side back in the trail. So handlers need to be aware of potential obstacles, places where a scent will pool, where it will disperse, the type of surface that you're moving onto. All of those things are important for the human to consider. Read and trust the dog. Trust your dog. Trust your dog. If your dog circles back, let them. If your dog moves into thick brush, confidently follow. If a dog ignores an obvious human trail, trust it. Because you don't know what your person, what your subject has done, especially when it's a small child, right? Small children aren't going to necessarily follow a path that is most likely one that an adult will follow. So trust the dog. And in many of these cases, we're not privy to actually seeing the searches. So you don't know how much of this was followed, how much of this was the handler's fault when trails are lost. Reduce distractions and reset focus. Take a break, give some water, move a few yards away from the distraction. Represent the scent article if necessary. Use scent pools or hot spots. Scent often collect in low spots, near large objects, behind buildings, against tree lines. Knowing your wind direction is important here as well. Direct the dog to check where scent might have settled. And then it picks up the scent again, maybe can move forward. Consider subject behaviour. If a trail abruptly ends, handlers check for clues. Tyre tracks. Did they get into a vehicle? Boot prints. Change direction sharply. Water access. Crossing. Wading. Is it worth going to the other side of a stream to see if your dog can pick up the scent from there? High traffic areas, which involves scent contamination. If needed, rescent the dog. Please do. If all else fails, use a grid search or air scent dog. SAR teams often deploy air-scent dogs to find odour plumes, ground searchers to sweep terrain, and trackers to validate signs. Trailing dogs sometimes lose trails for reasons beyond their control, weather, surface changes, time delays, so teams pivot accordingly. But the problem is, sometimes only one type of dog is available. In Lily and Jack's case, they used urban-trained air-scent dogs. In my opinion, live scent trackers would be more appropriate for that location. You had the boot prints and you had the blanket, and they brought an air scent dog. The air scent dog couldn't find a track. I would have brought in scent specific dogs at that point, especially where the boot prints were. But often, in the really real world, only one type of dog is available. And then I asked it for sources, so we're back to where I began. But when I'm talking about stuff in videos, doesn't matter what the case is, but whenever I bring up search dogs, I am basing my information that I'm giving you on fact. I'm just making stuff up to suit my own opinion or agenda. I do know about this stuff, all right? So let me know your thoughts in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video. Oh, and don't forget Cold Case Christmas, episode 9 tonight, over on my other channel, Michelle Walks. Hopefully I'll see you there, 6 PM UK time, whatever that is in your local time. Episode 9 will magically appear. What case is it going to be, though? Here's the trailer.